Start.
Okay, what we're going to do today is spice up our navigation menus using some GIF images, and we're going to create those GIF images using your favorite graphics program, and mine happens to be GIMP. Now, as you can see here, we have a functioning website, and you can't really tell by looking at it, but it has a functional navigation bar, and I'll show you by clicking on them. We got set history, second and third wave, America, and they go to all the different pages. Okay, so what I have already done is I've went into GIMP and I've created some GIF images that we're going to use to spice up our navigation bar. And the concept here when you're using GIF images is to make something that looks a little flashier, but at the same time has a small file size, just like they taught us in the book. And what you can do is, if you're creating a navigation bar that is horizontal navigation, you create a vertical image that is as narrow as possible in the correct height, and vice versa if you had a vertical navigation bar. So obviously the navigation bar we were looking at just now was horizontal, and so based on the font I'm using and everything, we're making these labels 80 pixels high by 10 pixels wide. Now theoretically you could make the image a little narrower, which would save some of the file size, but I chose this. It's pretty small and it works good enough. Now I have the black and the red symmetric to each other, and so the red takes up about 60 pixels, and at the end you'll see it ends up looking pretty nice. I also have a list image divider, and that is 2 pixels wide by 40 pixels high. And if you'd subtract the 10 and the 10 from the 80, you basically get 60 pixels, and then this will be centered in between that and in between the navigation headings. So then what we would do is we'd go in and we would save these, and you'd do a save as, and you'd make sure you're in your images folder for that particular website you're building. And right in here I gave it a pretty obvious name, list image divider, and we can just do save, and it already exists. I'm just going to replace it, save it again, and then here we would do the same thing, but since I've already done that before, I'm just going to do Control S. Next thing we're going to do is we could go over here and we could go into our project. If you wanted to be a little OCD about it, you could just make sure your images are there. And here we got the list image, and then we got the list image divider. And look at the file size, 62 bytes, and this file size is 71 bytes. So, we've achieved that, keeping it small. So next we're going to go to our style sheet. Okay, and we're going to go to our unordered list. Now, we've already selected the unordered list style type of none, and that keeps us from having any bullets that are visible. The unordered list width is 600 pixels, and I know that works because for the size of the navigation text that I'm going to have. And I have the margin set to auto because I think this one looks good if it's centered on the page. And we're also going to do some for the actual links, which is right here, the nav A. Okay, so first thing, let's come back up here, put our cursor here, enter one time, and actually we want it right below the list style, at least I like it there. And we're going to call up our background image. Alright, now remember, whenever we're calling a background image from a folder that's in another folder, over folders, we have to do the kind of like the old DOS style calling. And then and here we're in the folder that we need to be in now, and the one for here was the list image, that GIF, and semicolon. And now remember, we made the image's height 80 pixels high, so it's very important that we select the same height that we had over there. Otherwise, it's just like we're not even in control of what we're doing. And there we have that. Now we're going to come down and we're going to call our background image for the nav A. And this is basically between the navigation text itself. And the URL for that. We do the double dots to put us in the images folder. We do our slash, and that is list image divider.gif. And the semicolon. Now here, we actually are going to mess with the repeat. We're actually using the repeat up here, but we're using the default repeat. And the default repeat for a list that's horizontal is to repeat horizontally, and that's what we're using to our favor to create a label that has a small file size. And we're going to have no repeat. And then we're going to have the background position be right. And that means it's just going to be to the right of the text. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and do a Control S because we've already saved it once and we have it in the correct destination folder. And we're going to do a refresh on our web page. Voila, we have a more professional looking navigation block, and we only took up about 133 bytes. And that's even good for good old dial-up probably.